Up Late with Johnny Potenza is pre-recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Coming to you live from the city that never sleeps, New York City. It's Up Late with Johnny Potenza. Please welcome the host of Up Late, Johnny Potenza.
Yeah. How's everybody doing? Come on, I thought you all died there for a second. You ran out of oxygen or something? How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Up Late Show. I am your host for the evening, Johnny Potenza. And we're in the summer of 2024. How's everybody doing? Great. Good? All right. All right, good. Don't clap too much. You're going to give me a heart attack. No, I'm only teasing you guys. Thank you all for coming along. We got a great show for you tonight. This is the first time in probably a decade that I didn't have a musical act. They had to cancel due to some personal reasons, but we got great talent tonight. 3 different talents with 3 different stories. So for our first guest up tonight, he's a former radio personality star, and he's an actor. We have the one and only Bandiero in the house. Yeah. My next guest, he was part of the entourage of my former show, Late Night with Johnny P. He moved to Florida. He's been gone a little while. He started touring again the last couple of years, and he's back again for vengeance. My good friend, the hilarious comedy of Fred Rubino. Yeah. And last but not least is another friend. He's an actor, and he's a pro health fitness trainer. You can see him. He's a co-star, plays Rocco on Gravesend, the Amazon Prime series. We have the one and only Peter Gaudio in the house. Yeah, so not bad. I messed up one person's name, I think. So I'm going to go sit down. We're going to talk a little, and we're going to bring on our first guest. All right. Okay, now listen. We got some island news, personal news, community media of Staten Island news first. I got to announce that we finally got our first HD channel. Hopefully within the next couple of months into the near future, we're all going to have HD channels like the rest of the public access stations in New York City. I got to give it up to Jennifer San Martino and Maria Esposito and all the staff on the CTV board for making this happen. I still think I should be on the board, but maybe when I'm 70, they'll put me on the board. What do you think? Yeah, no, but you're doing a great job. Listen, we're not playing bingo tonight. This is a late night show, guys. So as I mentioned a couple of months ago, I'm only going to be doing a show every other month instead of every month because I'm producing a doc on the behind-the-scenes making of the show. It's called From Late Night to Up Late. And it's going to be good. And if it goes off right and we get it finished and it's in the stars, it'll be in the film festivals and we'll get it up to Amazon Prime. So that's another thing that we're doing. I'm going to bring back something I used to do on the late night show that people should be informed a little. I'm going to read off just to show you how things are changing from streaming networks, from the old just regular clear channels, ABC, CBS, NBC, with the TV guide. And you know, a lot of people say, they still have a TV guide, and they do. It's like the daily news. So we have it's like Rolling Stone magazine. So we got the TV guide. It's bi-weekly, okay? And it has the 25 top shows, but I'm only going to read fast the top 15 shows because we'll be here forever. But the numbers went down in viewership when you're having like Netflix and all these other series that are blowing them away. So at number 15, you got FBI International on CBS with 5.1 million. You got Chicago PD on NBC at 5.2. The Voice, Monday night, 5.3. The Voice used to be double that. 9/11 ABC, 5.5 million. Chicago Med, 6.2 million. Chicago Fire, another one that was double. Big show, 6.3 million. March Madness for 7 and 8. 8 and 7 is 6.4 in North Carolina State and 6.5 in Arizona. FBI is 6.8. Tracker, which is a great show. I don't know. Any guys seen Tracker out there? What are you guys sleeping at that time? Look, Tracker's on the first cover. Great. Check it out. It's really, really, really good. Tracker, 6.8. The Equalizer, another one that was double, 6.9. March Madness again with Houston versus the Duke, 7.4. And 60 Minutes was always pretty much the highest. And they used to be double. It's only 10.4 million. So, but you go on the streaming networks now, and all these streaming channels are blowing ABC, CBS, and NBC away. I mean, that's where it's all going, unfortunately. And that's about it. So let's bring on our first guest. All right. This guy's been all around the world, and he's a former radio personality, and he's an actor. So let's give him an up-late welcome for Al Bandiero. What's up, my man?
Hi, how are you, buddy?
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
I got it right?
You got it right.
All right, wonderful. Tonight, I forgot to tell everybody, this is actually an Italian show. Every guest tonight is an Italian.
Okay.
Which is a good thing.
Watch the doors.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing. But you were born Flatbush, Brooklyn, right?
Williamsburg.
Oh, Williamsburg?
Then moved into Flatbush.
Okay.
Then Bensonhurst, and then Manhattan.
Oh. And what made you jump to Manhattan?
My career was starting to take off, and Manhattan was where the studios were, the TV studios, the radio stations that I was on, and you needed to be there.
That was my mistake, Al. I should have got out of Staten Island at an early age, go to Manhattan or California.
Yeah.
I just stayed on Staten Island.
You know, the neighborhood was great that you were raised in, and it's a tight neighborhood, but you needed to go where the business was.
Yeah.
And the business, it was in Manhattan, and the studios are there. A lot of voiceovers that I did, the studios were there. So it was simple that if they wanted you quickly, and they always did, if you're in the city, you were able to get to the studio in a few minutes, rather than when I lived in Brooklyn, traffic or whatever, they wouldn't call you. They would, if you were in the city, huge difference in rent, you know. Big time. Which was, and I've told people about this, when you lived in Brooklyn at that time, now it's completely different with the rents and how much condos are, but when you lived in the city, you had to hustle to make your rent. So there was a little bit of that challenge at the end of the month. You had to work.
I was going to ask you, were you ever a blue collar guy?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what was your hustle that made you the money before you really started making the money? Like, what was your goal actually when you went into the city?
When I moved into the city, I wanted to stay in radio, and then radio got me into television, and then from television it got me into films. So it just progressed.
But how did the radio come about? What was how did you stumble into that?
I was in high school in shop, and you had to build a radio. So before that, I really wanted to play baseball. So once I got scouted by the Cardinals and they wanted to sign me, that went south because I was too young. They thought I was older. And at that time I was 14, so they weren't signing anybody. A kid at 14 years old, you had to be a little older. So when I was still playing, waiting to get older, I was in shop class and I built a radio one day. And I attached those two wires and the radio came on, and I've always loved music. Rock, even though I played dance music on the radio. I just thought it was a lot of fun. Would go up and start talking to the guys that really knew what they were doing. And they never pushed me away. They answered my questions. They let me sit in on their shows. But you had to go outside of New York to get the experience in order to come back, because New York was the #1 market. So even though you're from New York, you still had to have a certain resume in order to get to New York.
I was going to ask you before you brought it up, was because the rumor had it that you were almost on your way to like being a semi-pro baseball player.
True.
And what made you not?
Was that radio in
The
shop.
radio, and that was that.
Yeah, once I always loved music, but once I put those two wires together and the radio came on, I went, that's a good job.
That's cool, though.
Just as a backup, I had no intention, just as a backup. And then, what's the saying that when you make plans, God laughs and, gives you a different route. But
I seen in your story that your mom and dad were worried a little that you were going out there spending all this money because of the city high rent.
Yeah,
especially the Italians.
My mom, especially his Italian parents. My mom was aggressive. She knew why I had to go into Manhattan. My dad was different. He was, how much you paying rent? And I would tell him, because it was a new building, a doorman building, and he thought I was out of my mind. But my mother explained to him he has to be there.
Yeah.
Because to him it was, you save and you buy a house and you have the white picket fence, and I had no interest in a white picket fence. I needed my career to go. Obviously, having Italian parents, when their son moved into Manhattan as a bachelor, for some reason they just didn't think that we were capable of doing things. So the great thing is my parents would come over every week with food in bags. I said, Mom, there's supermarkets in Manhattan. Food does come into Manhattan. You don't have to bring it in. And she would cook for like maybe 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So I would have stuff ready to go.
But you can't beat that kind of cooking, right?
No, for sure. So she would make the sauce, a large pot of it. So I would freeze it. So if I was in the mood, I would just take a chunk, but it was like living home.
I love when people say that they take a chunk of it when it's frozen. Like they chop it out,
Yeah. And I always tell the great story that in my single days, if I had a date come over, I would open a can of tomatoes, dump the tomatoes, but leave the can. And they would walk in, and that smell, they thought I cooked it.
Yeah.
So they would walk in and say, wow, that smells great. You cook it? Yeah, sure. I do this all the time.
That's awesome.
Meanwhile, it was my mom's sauce, and it worked.
And what was your favorite radio station that you worked on at the time?
KTU, the original, right? KTU. Yeah, we were just talking in the green room before. The original KTU was just a monster.
What channel was that? Was that 97?
92? 92.3.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
92.3. Well, it turned into K-Rock years later.
Then, yeah,
okay.
From KTU went to K-Rock. But that station was on everywhere.
Yeah.
In every car, every building, every store. It was a monster.
Down the shore, that's all we listened to.
Yeah. Long Island, it was on all the time.
Now tell us the story, because you got a very interesting story, which is great. I think everybody that don't know should hear it. Tell us how you stumbled upon hooking up with Sylvester Stallone. That's a great story.
Yeah. So I was at KTU at the time, and the sequel to Saturday Night Fever was called Staying Alive, that Sly directed. So one day in the middle of my show, the program director walked in with this new album that was just brought to him that day. And he said, look, this new movie's coming out. It's called Staying Alive. It's the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. He said, if anybody should pick a song, you should pick the song, play it. They don't do that today.
No.
Back at that time, if you had an ear, we put it in queue and I played it. And there was this one particular track that I liked. So when he came back in, I said, this track. And it was from Sly's brother Frank that sang the lead on it. So
what was the name of it? What was the name of it? You remember?
You mean the song?
The Frank Stallone song,
Frank
right?
Stallone, right. Yeah, called Far From Over.
Okay.
So
that was a good song.
Great song. And
yeah.
So when he came around for a tour, he was told that Al broke your song in New York. And then Frank and I started hanging out on a regular basis. And one day when he came in, he said, my brother's coming in tomorrow. He's looking for an apartment. And I love the building you live in Manhattan. Do you think there's a penthouse available? So I went in and I asked the concierge, is there anything in the building available? And there was a penthouse available.
Okay.
So the next day, Sly came in, and we met, and we just hit it off. I thought I was just going to say hello to him.
That must have been a gas, right?
Yeah, that was pretty cool that day. Because, you know, in the back of my mind, all I kept thinking was, I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. That,
yeah, he's going to be like, hey, yo, kid, you got this thing, right?
Yeah. So we went up, and we went into this penthouse. And the woman knew we were coming up, but didn't tell her 8-year-old son. So the door opens up, the kid's playing on the floor, and of all the things he could be playing with, he's playing with a Rambo doll.
No way.
True story. So we open the door, I walk in, Sly walks in, and the kid was too busy playing with the doll. And the mother said to him, John, we have guests. So I'll never forget this look. He was 8 years old, playing on the floor, and he's playing with the doll and Rambo, and he's looking at it, and he went, and Rambo came walking in the door, for real. The kid was froze.
Yeah.
He looked at the doll, looked back. Sly picked up the doll, looked at it, played it a little bit, put it down, and walked to the apartment to take a look. He didn't take the apartment because it was too small.
Was it big?
It was pretty big penthouse, but it was too small. So after we went down into this party room that only people in the building could use, he just turned to me and said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'm really happy doing what I'm doing now. And he said, you know, you should look into acting in the future because you have this. And it's the farthest thing from my mind at that point. And then one day in his trips, he would always call and say, hey, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, let's eat. And one day I took him to this brand new club in Manhattan that my friend ran. And I called him and said, look, I'm going to bring Sly in tonight. Can you give us a booth? Sure, no problem. And it was that night, I never saw it coming. He leaned over and said, look, I'm going to do Rocky IV. I want you to be the ring commentator.
Wow.
So I remember that.
Yeah, but that must have been like a dream come true, just hanging out with him,
Yeah, it
calling
was
you
almost-
up. And you're like surreal.
It was like, what did you just say? You know, and then the pressure was on of, it wasn't about doing well for me. I wanted to do well for him because he was giving you a shot of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it wound out that Rocky IV made more money than any of the Rockies.
Yeah.
So that responsibility to, you know, you're walking on the set and people don't know who you are. And then you get the, who's this guy? You know, so the pressure is on to do well for him because he gave you the shot.
And that's something that goes right in your backyard, what you usually do anyway. So it was probably easy, too.
Well,
even though you were nervous.
I mean, I never called a professional fight. Plus, you had to learn your lines. But fast forward to what I'm doing now, which I never had any idea would happen. That was an unbelievable training ground for me to have, at that time, the biggest movie star in the world, take you under his wings for whatever the reason was. Because he's approached by a lot of people. And still is today. And for whatever the reason that he said, you know, I like this kid. So I just sat back and learned and watched. That scene took 2 weeks to shoot.
Really?
So, yeah. So what I learned 2 weeks just watching him for free and watching it, because he directed it, he wrote it, watching how people worked on a set. Fast forward all the years later, we just shot our own movie now, and you know, you take that knowledge with you. So I could never thank him ever.
Yeah, that's a
enough.
great story, right? Yeah, man.
Sly.
I saw Rocky when I was 10 years old at the Kingsway in Brooklyn, in Kingsway and Coney Island Avenue.
Yeah. I guess it's being in the right place at the right time.
That's what it all is, man.
Being prepared for it.
And just being on his resume with that.
Yeah, and it brought me to a different level, even though I went back to radio, but it brought me to a different level of any appearances I did. That was all over the world.
Well, that's a good thing. Between after Rocky IV, you landed. You got another big break on a TV series called Desire on Fox Network.
Yeah, I had moved out to Los Angeles, and you have to go on auditions all the time. And then I had a syndicated show at that time that I was able, a radio show, syndicated show that I was able to tape in Los Angeles, there in a studio, then send it back, and they would get it ready to put on the air. So it gave me my freedom to do auditions. And my agent had called and said, they're looking for so-and-so for this part. And I said, okay. And I walked in to the audition, and the casting director said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I called you in, but they're looking for somebody older. But you're here, so audition.
Okay.
So I did, and everything went well. And she wrote on there, and again, another good person. She wrote on the resume to the producers, I know you want an older character, but you should see him again.
Okay.
And they did. They called me back again. 15 callbacks later.
Yeah, I know that's what the tough part is when
15 callbacks.
You get all those callbacks. It's nerve-wracking.
Well, we were just talking in the green room that sometimes there's 10 callbacks and somebody else gets it.
Yeah.
For no reason. It's just the way that it is.
Now, what did it do? Run 2 years, 3 years? Because you did a lot of episodes in that short amount of time. What was it?
72.
72 episodes,
with
right?
some reruns. Yeah, it's on.
Like 2-3 years, right?
Yeah, it was 65 episodes of it, and it was a Fox show. Went all over the world. It's on right now on
Tubi.
Tubi.
Yes, you can watch it on Tubi.
All 65 episodes.
That's a lot of episodes. That's how they did
episodes.
it back in the day. Like with Dallas too.
Yeah.
Dynasty. They used to bang out episodes like it was crazy.
Which was another great training ground because you had to know your lines, you had to know where you had to do. But all of that training really great came from radio. Mm-hmm. Because radio, there were no scripts. You had to know exactly what you were going to do each hour for 4 hours live. There was no taping.
Yeah.
So to walk in to where they can cut and do it again and again, there's not really a lot of pressure in the sense of if you know your lines and you know what you're doing, you're coming from a live world where radio's live.
Yeah.
So the pressure is a little off, but you had to know, and it's Fox. So it was, and they did a great job there. I think they released it in 52 or 53 countries.
Talk about this drama series, cable TV that you're in development with your wife. It's called Matter of Family, right?
Well, yeah, we shot that already, so that's a pilot. But the one we just shot is called, it's a heist.
Okay.
It's called Standoff. So it's a heist that went bad. And everybody goes back to their safe place, and we have to figure out why did it go bad. And the only thing I can tell you is somebody in our group is not telling the truth.
That sounds like a good one.
It is a good one. So it was my wife's directorial debut.
Nice.
She
Very
wrote
good.
it. She wrote it.
Yeah.
So she was officially my boss during the shoot.
So how's it working with the wife, with the hubby and the wife? Yin and yang? A lot of production meetings?
Well, you know what? It is yin and yang. She's completely different than I am.
Oh, I could definitely tell. Just when I talk to you on the phone,
she's
night and day.
Yeah, she's, my attitude is, let's go. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. She's more, okay, we'll take care of it. Don't worry. Which is exactly what a personality like me needs.
Yeah.
To have someone that's you just be banging heads.
No.
And I never had any interest in that kind of female personality. I never had any interest in.
No, me too. Same.
It's just kind of even keel.
Well, what's the next step with it? Do you have any release dates? I mean,
well, we just had our composer do a pass-through yesterday, second one, and then he'll do another one, and it's being colorized now, and then we'll have the sound, and then once that goes out, we give it to our attorney, and she'll go out and sell it for us.
Good for you. When you ever have that movie premiere, make sure you send us some invites. We'd love
we
to
will.
come.
We're sending you the new poster that just came out today.
Yeah, we're going to roll it in.
And we're going to roll it in, and
I'm going to roll
you're
it
the
in
first.
right now. There it is. Looks pretty cool.
So you'll be the first show to show. It's called Standoff.
Sounds good, man. Best of luck with that.
Thank you.
Now, listen, before you go, it's almost our time. Let's talk about your one-man show that you recently just started this, correct?
Yeah, I did a one-man show a couple of months ago, and I've always been asked, you should talk about all these crazy stories that were true that happened to you, from recording artists to actors that I worked with, and the crazy stuff behind the scene that I've never talked about. And I kept getting asked that, and I said, you know, maybe we put a one-man show together with tapes and videos and then telling my stories of what happened with me. I don't throw anybody under a bus. It's not bad stories. It's funny stories of meeting Madonna for the 10th time, and I walked out of one of my TV shows, and she was walking in to the studio, and she handed me this cassette. And she used to come up to KTU all the time to promote her stuff. So that's one of the stories of, I said, what's this? She said, this is my new album. And nobody's got it. So could you please bring it back? When she was hustling.
And she was young, Kai, right?
Oh, yeah. And I said, what's the name of the album? So we were standing in the lobby, and she said, you'll hear it. It's the first track. I said, well, just tell me what the name of it is. And I said, okay, when I get in the car, I'll put it on. And the first track was Like a Virgin.
I knew you were going to say that for some reason.
So, and I just happened to be walking out the moment she was walking in. So I talk about stories like that. The first time I interviewed Kiss.
Tell me about that. What year was that?
Oh, man, I don't remember.
Was it without the makeup
late
days?
80s. Late,
yeah, so they
late 80s.
Because they took the makeup off in 84, 83.
Yeah, but the story necessarily wasn't about them. It was where it took place.
Okay.
For me, they told me, you're going to interview Kiss today for the TV show. I said, oh, wow, that's interesting. I never met them before. I said, well, what time are we going to the studio? No, it's not going to be here. Well, where's it going to be? So it was at the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Oh, wow.
Where David Letterman did his show. So they took over the whole place. So just walking out onto that stage where the greats in history once stood, and having this kid from Brooklyn, just stand on that same spot. I just got there a little early, stood on the stage, and I just looked around, knowing who was there, and it was a great experience. And then tons of stories that I do share on the show with Sly and the crazy things that we did, but all funny things. And George Michael, a lot of stories that I've never told before.
And you interviewed, introduced a bunch of these people like Radio City Music Hall and the Garden, right?
Yeah.
Chicago, right?
Chicago at the Garden, which was an unbelievable thrill.
And that was the original Chicago, probably,
the original,
right?
yeah. And then Duran Duran at Radio City Music Hall. So when you're walking out to that stage as a kid that you're going to see shows, and now all of a sudden you find yourself in the middle of that stage. The Garden is, 25,000. Radio City Music Hall, I think, is 8,000?
Mm-hmm.
As you're walking out, it's a little surreal that this kid who grew up in the boroughs, and now he's walking out in the middle of the stage to bring these major acts on. It's I never let that side get away, because it was
well, Al, it's nice to see that some people are still humble left in this world. It really is. Listen, it doesn't pay not to be humble. I mean, you seem like a complete gentleman. I'm glad you're on the show. Where can people find you on social media? Facebook, website?
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and it'll tell you when our movies are coming out and where you can see it.
All right, great. Well, listen, I hope you come back when the movie gets released. Everybody, Al Bandiero.
Thank you. Thank you.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
You have fun. Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you.
All right. Order my studio. All right. Radio personality, actor Al Bandiero. What a guy. All right, my next guest up tonight, as I said, he's back for vengeance. We got the hilarious comedy of my good friend, Fred Rubino. Let's give it up.
Thank you, Johnny P. Johnny P. Is it still Johnny P? Okay. Hey, it's D-Day, the anniversary of D-Day today. And I've never been in any kind of military engagement, but I did plan an Italian wedding. Okay? That is like planning an invasion, in case you don't know, right? I mean, you have to position people. It's like you're moving tanks across Poland. It's real serious stuff, right? Because you can't put Aunt Mary next to Aunt Connie because 10 years ago she said she had a fat ass. Can't have it. Right? That's the way we are. Uncle Vito can't be next to Uncle Dominic because 30 years ago he did his concrete and there's a little crack and now he wants his money back. You got to keep everybody separate. It's crazy, right? It's unbelievable. And and also we make lists. That's what we do at weddings. You have to have a list. Right? Of who came, who gave. My mother wrote down how many shrimp my Uncle Vito ate at my wedding. He ate $150 worth of shrimp. He only gave 100. When his kid gets married, we only give 100. That's the way we operate. Have you been to one of these weddings that aren't Italian? I went down to Florida for a little while. And I went to a non-Italian wedding. Scary. The cocktail hour, it's a half of an egg, a slice of salami, a little provolone. That's it. My mother had more food in her pocketbook than the whole cocktail hour. There was a line in front of my mother's table. She was giving out chicken cutlets. Here you go. Here. You look skinny. Have two. That's the way we are, right? That's the way. But this was scary because when we were there, all of a sudden, they have the father dancing with the bride. And in Italian, that's solemn, right? This disco music comes on. They start doing the jitterbug. He's spinning her, dipping her. What are you, out of your mind? In an Italian wedding, when it's time for the father to dance with the bride, everyone shuts up. You could hear a pin drop. The father gets up. He's got tears in his eyes. He grabs his daughter, right? And he hugs her, and he whispers in her ear, "You don't have to marry this piece of shit. It's not too late. I know a couple of guys in Gravesend. They'll never find him again." That's an Italian wedding. And nobody gets out of line. Now, I want you people in front to know I'm 100% vaccinated, except for COVID. They're not experimenting on my guinea ass, I can tell you that. Right? I'm not anti-vax. I had my wife vaccinated. Let's see what happens. Right? You go down the line. Your wife, your ugliest kid, and you work it down. Did you know that COVID is still the #1 feared thing in the United States? #1. I went to a wedding last week. My cousin Vito comes in. He was pale. He couldn't breathe. He was sweating. I go, "Vito, you okay?" Because it's only AIDS. I was like, "All right, have a cannoli, all right, and be well." And we're not going to fall for that, are we? Are we going to fall for another epidemic? Because they tried. Remember? Monkeypox. It was like Halloween. Ding dong, monkeypox. Now, I have a GED. I don't like to brag. And I did the research. They said that monkeypox started when someone had sex with a monkey. Let that sink in. No one here envisioned it was a woman who had sex with the monkey. It had to be a guy, right? Guys, are we the lowest things on this planet? Unbelievable. Because you know it wasn't a woman. You ever try and pick up a woman? He's too short. He's too tall. I don't like the way he walks. I don't like the way he talks. Guys, we're like, hey, that monkey's got a nice ass, huh? Yeah, that's us. We're horrible human beings. I mean, and we got it made. Guys got it made. Look, we could send our wives to Vegas with cash, with all their girlfriends for a week. We wouldn't even care. They got drunk. We trust them. Women, you can't trust us at the zoo. We come home, you're like, you smell like bananas. Were you with those monkeys again? I know things are tough. Bidenomics, not cool. Not good at all. But Italians always figure out a way around hard times. We always figure it out. I just figured out how to reduce my grocery bill by 80%. Want to know how? 2 words. Self-checkout. That's it. Everything's on sale today. Do you know how many T-bone steaks fit in the family-size box of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes? 6. And they're great. Yeah. You know how many AA batteries fit in a tube of Pringles? 50. And at Walgreens, it was buy one, get one free. I didn't even want to steal 100 batteries. They made me. I pulled out of the Walgreens parking lot with more voltage in my Jeep than the Tesla behind me. We got to get around it. We got to get around it. I just had a boot on for like 7 weeks. I broke my Achilles tendon. So this is my first, 2 weeks out of it. I'm feeling good. But let me tell you, when people see an Italian or somebody with something wrong, they always get racial. You know, they see an Italian guy with a broken leg right away. He owed someone money. You see an Irish guy with a broken nose and a black eye, he probably got drunk and started a fight. You see a Jewish guy with a neck brace, he probably has nothing wrong with him. But I moved to Florida not too long ago, a couple of years ago. And if you're Italian, Florida is not the place. There's no food. There's no bread. Could you imagine there's no bread? It's the water. You're surrounded by water. Pick a water. I went to the Publix. That's what they call the big grocery store. And I said, why does the bread suck? And the woman goes, you know what you have to do? You have to wet it. And then you have to put it in foil and put it in an oven for 400 degrees. I got to make the bread now? It's like a rubber. It's like a sponge. I buy 1 loaf a week, I cut it up into sponges, and I wash my dishes with it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. When I was 19, I was under the Verrazano Bridge at midnight buying a nickel bag of weed. Now I'm under the bridge in Tampa looking for a loaf of semolina bread. It's nuts. It's a whole crazy place. And the Chinese food's no good. I don't know. I don't know what they did to the Chinese people down there. They look just like Chinese people. I walk in, I ordered fried rice. It was yellow. What, you making in the toilet bowl? What's going on? See, in New York, you know, to the letter, the minute you walk into a Chinese restaurant in New York, you know if it's authentic or not right away, right? If you walk in and there's a kid doing his homework next to the cash register, that's good Chinese food. If he's crying, it's great Chinese food. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. And there's one more thing that I got to warn you about with Florida. There is a thing called Silver Alert. If you don't know what that is, it's a senior citizen is missing. He's on the road, and he's driving around. And somehow it's my job to find this person. They're always in a white Kia. I don't know what happened. Maybe there's a coupon in the AAA book for white Kias. I don't know what it is. And if you ever notice, it's never a woman missing. It's always a man. Do you know why? Because we don't report yous missing when you go missing. We're like, goodbye, Home Goods. Goodbye, Hobby Lobby. Who got CJ Maxx? Thank you so much. I'm Freddie Rubino. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Yes. My man Freddie Rubino, and he's sitting right here. My brother, how you doing, man?
Thank you for having me on.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Where'd you get this? The Victory Motor Inn over here?
Yeah. No, the West Shore. The West Shore.
A gay man did not design this set. You could just say, just throw plants. Throw plants.
This is the Dollar Tree plant store, I'd call it.
I could see.
Except this was handmade.
Oh, nice.
Handmade. So what's going on, man? How's Florida treating you? Are you back and forth? Or you just what's going on? Talk to me.
I'm back and forth. I try and get out of Florida for the summer because it's 125 degrees. I mean, you can't function like that, you know?
No, too much.
Your underwear, your band, it melts into your shorts and stuff. It's no good. So I come up here, and I enjoy the 100-degree weather of beautiful New Jersey. And then, I go wherever the gigs are.
Yeah.
So I'm up in Wisconsin, Chicago, Minnesota.
So, listen, you're from Brooklyn, too. What's the most that you miss from Brooklyn? And I know what you're going to say.
The food, the pizza.
The pizza's the best.
Oh, Florida has no pizza.
I'd rather get Red Baron in the supermarket, right?
Anything.
Yeah.
English muffin pizzas are better.
Totally.
And in Florida, they trick you. You'll be driving, and you'll see a thing. New York-style pizza.
Yeah.
And you pull in, and it's garbage.
It's garbage. It makes Domino's 5-star.
They come over, and they're like, we were founded in 2018. 2018?
Yeah.
You know, the pizza, when you go to a pizzeria in New York, there's no story.
No.
You know the story, right? Before you walk in. It was founded by the old man who came from Italy 50 years ago. And now it's the sons, and in 5 years, he's going to gamble and snort the whole thing away.
It's true. You know what I can't stand in New York City? When you go into a place and the pizza's like, it looks like it was there for 2 days. So I go, I go, you got a slice? He goes, yeah. He goes, and he's cutting. I go, no, you got anything fresh? He goes, this is fresh. And I'm crazy. So I go, that looks like it's been there for 2 days. And, and the guy gets mad. All of a sudden, he goes, and he pulls out the pie. He goes, so why wouldn't you give me that pie?
It's like a magician.
Yeah.
Pull a slice out of mine.
Yeah. Don't give me that white slice that was red at once.
I was just in Wisconsin, and this is how I ordered a pie. You got to go to this pizzeria. So the guy comes to the table with the pie, and he cuts it in half. Now you're supposed to turn it 45 and cut it again, right? He cuts it this far, and then this far.
Get out of here.
They were slices this big.
Yeah.
All little pieces. It was like a postage stamp.
Yeah. Those are free giveaway slices.
I called my wife. I go, I just had 18 slices. She's like, what? I said they were this big.
That's hilarious. So, since you've been in Florida, how's the comedy scene changed from back in the day when it was great?
Yes.
To now?
Well, I tell you what, in Florida, there's very good clubs. And you go to the club on a Wednesday or Tuesday, it's packed.
Yeah.
They pack them in. Here, you go to a place, there's 11 people, there's 12 people.
I know.
The people come in, they're like, I never knew this place was here. Jesus, advertise for crying out loud.
Listen, people know my place is here. We still got 15 people here today.
I don't know how people
My
find it. I had the GPS. I was next door. I was at Spectrum. Is the Johnny P here?
When Curtis Lewa came, he goes, I ran around this whole thing. I thought it was a abandoned building, he said.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody found.
They don't even have a sign out there. There used to be a sign there years ago. I told them one day if I ever make it, I'm going to buy them a sign, but I want my picture on it.
Then you're going to scare people away.
That's right.
But I think most of these people were here from the last show because they couldn't find their way out.
No, it's true. Now, listen, you've been on a lot of podcasts and radio shows. What was your biggest radio show? Was it Sid and Bernie?
I was on Sid and Bernie, but I'm on the
boy-
other side of me, our boy, Frank Morano.
Frank Morano, everybody. Let's give it up. Come on. Frank Morano started off here at CTV, and he graduated, and he's doing fabulous. And Freddie's been like almost a regular every other week on the show, every week lately.
He's had me on
Good for you.
weekly, and it's a great show, only it's 2 in the morning.
I know.
So.
Do you drive in or you take the train?
I drive in. You can't take, what are you going to take, a train?
I know, I'll tell you about it.
Have you seen the trains?
The only good thing about the trains, they'll let you jump the turnstile and you won't get arrested. But you got to duck all the criminals.
Duck the criminals. There's urine.
I know.
Over.
It's gross.
It's gross. It's terrible. And then you fear for your life, so you drive in, and there's at 2 in the morning in Manhattan. Yeah. There are homeless people like it's the middle of the day.
Yeah.
They're out there partying. Hey, they go to sleep.
And they sleep on the day. That's when you walk over them.
Listen, go to sleep, will you?
Yeah, but get it back to Frank Morano. He's such a sweetheart, great guy. He's like an encyclopedia, right?
He is. He's the best talk show on WABC.
100%.
And I'm honored to be on all the time with him. And I hope to be on next Thursday. I'll probably be on again.
Yeah, you guys gave me a great plug, and I appreciate that. And you know what? Frank's another guy. He's very humble. He never forgot where he came from, and he stays true to his art.
Yes. I thought he was going to be here today. He's probably in Spectrum right now upstairs.
Yeah, he was supposed to stop by. If he didn't stop by, that means he had to do like a bunch of stuff. He multitasks like I don't know how. Got a kid. He works midnights. Frank's an all-American guy.
If you ever feel smart, go on Frank's show.
Yeah.
You feel like a moron after that.
You forget about it.
He starts talking about, what do you think about the agricultural ways that Europe will transform into an agrarian society? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Europe? No, I've never been, no.
He'll have a guy like Freddie on. He'll have like an astronaut on. He'll have a scientist on. He'll have a guy who made the nuclear bomb. He'll have me on. He has like Joe Franklin used to have everybody on the show.
Yeah, yeah. He's a throwback.
Big time. But I think he's prepared. Joe was all nostalgia. Frank knows a lot about history, current events, and everything.
Everything. If you want to know something, ask Frank.
Ask Frank.
Wake up at 3 in the morning and call him.
Yeah, when you can hear Igor.
Yes.
See, we'll plug this, and then we're going to keep going into your career. WABC came a long way. It was on AM, and people had a lot of trouble doing it. Now, the last couple of years, it's been on a podcast, on your phone. It's one of the best stations out there. Everybody, and then Sid and Bernie before Bernie died, right?
Yes.
And then, Tony Orlando's on that show. You got so many great people. So check it out, 77 WABC. So, Freddie, talk to me. You got a lot of good things going on these days. Let's talk about the old days. Remember the old Looney Bin when everybody used to play?
Yes. The Looney Bin right by the La Fitness.
Yeah, the La Fitness. Now, I got to bust his chops. Now they're doing it in the diner. Whatever diner will take him.
He booked me 2 nights.
No way.
In July.
Okay.
And Vic.
Yeah, Vic.
Great guy, Vic.
Vic's cool.
Vic is as old school as possible. So he booked me. He goes, where we playing? I go, Vic, let's have. Vic doesn't listen. Vic, I go, Vic, I want a nice Italian restaurant. Beautiful people have dinner. Yeah. Fine. What date? I give him the date. Okay, sends me the flyer. The Highland Diner.
Yeah.
Did you listen, Vic? Yeah, I listened. You'll play where I tell you to play.
Like that's just your career move, just like being on my show.
Yes. It's.
I'm teasing you. Listen, it all stands at the end of the day. No matter where you play, as long as you can bring the people in there, you know.
Well, it used to be that.
I miss a good comedy club on the island.
Yes. Staten Island needs one.
Yeah.
But you know Staten Island politics. If you're on one end of Highland, we don't go to the other end of Highland. If you're on one side of the highway, we don't go.
I'm in Princess Bay. God forbid someone's in Newdorf. Or they're on the other side, you're in the sticks.
This is the best show between Highland and the 440.
Yeah.
This is...
It's crazy, man. But we all knew a lot of the guys back then. We're only going to mention one of them, like our Pete Davidson, for instance.
Yes.
Young Pete Davidson. We love Pete Davidson. Whoever thought that he would blow up into outer space?
When he was like 16,
yeah, he was funny.
I was just starting out, and we would do bars in Staten Island, and I was the older guy.
You were just starting out back then, yeah?
Yeah, me, him, Craig Lloydgren.
Yeah, Craig.
Buddha.
Yeah, Buddha's great.
And, like, we would do bars, and, like, drunks would come up on stage. And he was a little kid. Now he's a monster.
I know. And
I would go up there, throw the drunk off the stage. And then I messaged him. I go, hey, remember the time I drew the drunk off the stage? He was going to... Oh, I handled that guy.
Yeah,
I go, how?
Yeah.
You peed in your pants. But I wish him all the luck. He's a great kid.
No, listen, I wish him all the luck, too. I just wish that he didn't forget about everybody, but I will run into him one day and I'll bust his chops. But I do. I'm proud of you, Pete. Listen, whatever your reasons were to leave all your friends in Staten Island high and dry, that's on you, pal. Good old. I got a call from a reporter from England, from the Star magazine, and she goes like, "Oh, Johnny, I need to do an interview with you with a Pete Davidson. You were the first guy to interview him."
Is that an English accent?
I know.
Was she from Bay Ridge? This English person?
Oh, Johnny. Yeah, I know. My accents ain't good today. But anyway, she, I had to give her the whole thing, and she put me in this. It was Kanye West, me, Kim Kardashian, and Pete. My mother's like,
and Pete was dating them all.
Yeah, my mother's like, what are you doing with them? I go, I just got put in the mix. I don't know none of them except Pete Davidson. Like, you had to put me next to Kanye West?
Hey, listen, you could do worse.
Yeah,
you could do worse.
But, we had a lot of good times. Freddie did, last time you were on was 10 years ago, and we did a 75th roast for the show. Freddie killed it. You can still watch this. I can still watch it today and laugh and put myself in a good mood.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Late Night with Johnny P, roast, Freddie Rubino, and Buddha was on. And we had Craig Lloydgren. It was great. That was a fun time.
Gemini.
That's right, Gemini. My mother was in the audience. But yeah, you said some funny stuff.
Gemini had the little hat, like from the horse on Central Park.
Yeah.
He had the little brim up there.
Yeah, Gemini. He's a great guy.
I went to high school with him.
Get out of here.
I did. I went to Nazareth High School with him.
How was he back in the day?
He was good.
He was
He was good. He was in the drama club, and I was straight.
Yeah. Did he still like puppies back then or no?
He's a great guy.
No,
he's a great guy.
He's one of the best. Tell us one. I'm sure you have a lot of them, because I heard some of them. Give us something that's really funny that was on the road that you had such a great story that you'll never forget.
I filmed a commercial in Staten Island for Cohen's Optical. If anybody lives on Staten Island, you've probably seen me 100 times on the thing. And the production company were Russians. I don't know how they got them, And the guy told me a hilarious story. I told him, I said, did you ever do this in Russia? He goes, the best thing we did, he says, he got from the Kremlin hundreds of thousands of dollars to film this moth that was endangered species.
Oh, wow.
He says, it was my big break. And he went there, and he says, you know, the lights, not like these lights. I've been in lineups with better lighting than this.
I hear you.
It's like the D trains coming through the tunnel.
I'm glad someone said that.
But so he's doing it. He goes, and we waited for 18 hours for the moth. He says, because it goes on this special tree. He says, and we're waiting there. He goes, the moth shows up. He goes, we turned on all the lights, the bright lights. He goes, the moth went right for the light and burnt up in 2 seconds.
Get out of here.
He says, I had to leave Russia.
Yeah, they probably disowned him. Like in Rocky IV, they disowned the
That's it.
the
And
Russian.
he came to Cohen's and filmed me.
That's great. Now, you've been doing a lot of opening for past Soprano cast members. Talk about that.
I do it with like Johnny Sack and Eugene and who was Furio.
Well, Federico Casaluccio is
Yes.
going to be on the show August 1st.
Okay.
So you never were with Vinny yet?
No, not with
Okay.
him. But what I do is I write all the questions.
Okay.
They're great guys. They say we don't want to know the questions, so we do it. And Johnny Sack,
Yeah.
what's
Vincent
Corrado, or something?
Yeah.
Curatolo.
Curatolo, there you go.
He's the exact guy
Yes.
from that show.
Yeah.
In person. I get there. I get to the first one. We get in the elevator. He's arguing with the front desk. What do you mean you don't know where the green room is? What do you do here? I'm like, oh my God. And then we're on stage, and he's like, get me some wine. He tells the owner of the place.
That's great.
And I was like, this guy's the real thing.
Like Frank Vincent.
Yes.
What you
yes.
see is what you get,
What you see is what you
which
get.
is great, you know?
And I love doing it. I love emceeing that. It's a great Italian thing.
Listen, we love The Sopranos. Come on.
Yeah, I do.
It's going to go down in history, that friggin' show. It's great. Now, what about this opening for the Sinatra singer?
Oh, Mike Martocci.
Oh, yes.
Mike Martocci has a 22-piece band.
Oh, wow.
He took me to Miami, the Fountain Blue. It's like where Sinatra is like interned, I think. I don't know. His ashes are there. I don't know. I'm doing a half hour in front of him. Mm-hmm. Fountain Blue. Oh, fantastic. There's 5 seats in the front that are empty. 10 minutes in, this old guy comes. He's on a scooter. There's a guy behind him that's like 80, and he's 90.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm making fun of him. I go, oh, what happened? Take your time. And I go, who's that, your son behind you? And then another guy was behind him who was his grandson. I go, what's that, a fetus? There's a fetus. Make fun of him. I did great. I come off stage. I asked the security guy, I go, who was that? He goes, he's the owner of the Fountain Blue.
Oh, my Lord.
I go, who's the fetus? He's the manager of... I said, I'll just leave. I'll just leave.
Great.
But it was great because I had a bottle of water from the fridge. It was $37.
You didn't rob it?
Rob it. I called up the desk. I was like, please, I'll do another 30 minutes.
That's hilarious. Now, who are the guys that you're bringing up that warm up for you on the tours that I've been seeing? Names I never heard of, but I heard they're really good.
I like to get guys who have been doing it for a while and are wanting to headline, and I give them a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're just starting, I'll give you a guest spot.
Yeah.
That's the way I am. If I could be a blessing to one person, some people just need one break, and it changes their whole life.
Yeah.
So that's all I would love to, retire and then figure out that or find out that I helped one person make it to the next level.
And that's what it's all about. And you know what? You never know who that one person might be.
It's not going to be you, but
Yeah.
I'm saying it might be Frank Morano.
Well, yeah, you never even know. I might surprise all of you. It might even be you.
There you go.
You don't know.
No. Bigger water. You'll
Yeah.
have bigger waters.
Listen, who-
Real plants.
Yeah, really. I know, really. Now, who would ever thought like Pete Davidson would be hanging out with Miley Cyrus, dating Ariana Grande, dating Kim Kardashian, dating all these crazy celebrities? Like, who would ever thought that? That's like
Not me.
untouchable. I know.
Because he was an ugly kid.
Yeah, he looks like a monkey with his ears, like this. Beep, beep, beep. I got you, Pete.
But he's a young kid. He's living the life.
Yeah.
Good for him. I hope he keeps rolling like that.
I'm proud to be the first one to interview him. I figured I would have got like a couple million hits. I got like, I think, I don't know, a couple, 20,000, 22,000. And then other ones, a couple thousand. Who knows?
Hey.
What are you going to do?
Hey, Hunter Biden had more hits.
I got to do like a milk and bread video or something. I got to do a milk and bread video or something.
You got to do something.
You got to do something crazy like that. I'm going to get the Campbell's soup and the spoon.
There you go.
I got the Campbell's soup and the spoon.
You could be the new Campbell's Soup kid.
Oh, forget about it. It's crazy shit. So what do people got to look forward to in the future, Freddie? You got any movies or anything coming up like that?
I just filmed a pilot.
Yes.
And I heard that it might be getting picked up. So it's that's exciting. I can't say anything about it until it gets picked up. But I've done 5 pilots. They go nowhere.
Yeah.
This is the first one where they said, hey, it looks like we might get funding and we're going to do it.
Good.
So my fingers are good. If not, I'm just having fun.
Just keep pushing it, man.
Yeah,
You know what I learned? The less you stress, all of a sudden one day opportunity kicks you in the ass.
Right. Or my wife kicks me in the ass. Either one.
Well, better you than me.
Something's getting kicked.
But where can people find you on social media, your shows, your website?
On Facebook or fredrubino.com, and you'll see where I'm playing next. And I'm all over. I'm TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram.
You catch him on Frank Barano's show.
Yeah,
Just check
77.
that out.
And I'm having a good time.
Yeah, man. You know I love you, man. I'm glad you're back in town.
Same here.
You look good. You know.
Thank you.
You really,
Thank you.
honestly, you
I'm
look.
not coming back. You don't have to blow smoke up my ass.
Let me see. You know, you do. You look better. You look more relaxed than you did when you left here, bro.
It's called marijuana. That's what it's called.
Okay, good. Whatever works. All right, everybody. Fred Rubino. Yeah.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Yeah. Comedian Freddie Rubino at a theater near you. But my next guest up tonight, he's a real good friend of mine. He's an actor, he's a health and fitness coach, and he's the co-star on the hit TV show on Amazon Prime, Gravesend. He plays Rocco. We're going to show you a fast clip now before we bring him up.
1, 2, come on!
Look at you, all the way from Brooklyn. Let's get down to business.
Why don't you come over for dinner one night?
Betty Z will never change.
Business is business, and there's a lot of money to be made. Guess who's back? 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Stop.
You're back.
All right, without further ado, my good friend Peter Gaudio. Peter, what's up, buddy?
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here.
You too, man. What's going on?
A busy schedule. You know, I just finished a music video for Sabrina Carpenter, which drops tonight.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, and then my girl Pamela, her music video, we also did The Mark of the Beast, which drops in August.
And what does she do?
She raps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's tremendous talent.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I just finished with Paul Borghese and Tony Darrow and Chuck Zito and the Jailhouse Jerky crew.
Well, I got all these questions for you.
Yeah, okay.
So let me go down the line, and we're going to get to everything pretty much here. I mean, you guys... Last month's show, we had William DeMeo and
Vinny Pastore.
Vinny Pastore, and we brought up Peter at the end. So we got Peter back now. So what's been going on? You wrapped up season 2. It's been going great, and you just started filming season 3, correct?
Right. Monday was our first day of production.
And how'd that go?
You know, it went absolutely fantastic.
All right.
You know, and then we're filming all week long, and then I'm scheduled to start work, I think, on June 11th.
Now, you have a daughter.
Yes, I do.
And how old is she now?
My daughter's 19.
Yeah,
Good-looking
kid.
Thank you. Yeah,
You
I live and breathe for her. You know, she's my daughter.
I know.
You know, and I'm very, very proud of her. She's going to be an attorney.
Yeah.
You know, she starts studying in August in Florence, Italy.
That's great, right?
You know,
come on.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's very good, Pete.
Yeah.
I know you're a family guy.
Yeah,
man.
you know, I've been picking her up since kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very involved in her life.
I'm sure the guys that would want to date him and they see you picking him up, they probably run down the block.
Yeah, she has an 8x10 photo of myself on her dresser in her dorm.
That's great. That's awesome. So
thank you.
Yeah, man, good luck with that.
Thank
now,
you.
what got you in, before we get back into the acting, because that's what started first, what got you into bodybuilding? I know you were in a lot of competition, health and fitness.
Yeah, well, I played a lot of sports when I was younger, and I wasn't as tall as the other fellows that we used to play with. So I said, if I'm not going to get it in height, I'm going to get it in strength.
Okay.
So I started the strength training program. And then, you get turned on and you see that when you go play in sports again and, it's a little bit physical and you're seeing people bounce off you and say, you know what, this turns me on, you know. And then I got, more involved in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And I trained with Lou Ferrigno back in the day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What year was this?
Oh.
80s?
No, less than that. I would say about 1978.
Mink, really?
1977.
Well, you were young.
Yeah, I was a kid. I'm 63 years old.
Okay, God bless.
Yeah. And, then I started, competing in bodybuilding shows myself, and I've won some major competitions.
Yeah, you won Mr. New York?
Yeah, New York City.
Yeah.
It's an honor to hold that crown. And then, the knowledge and experience that I have from the fitness industry. Now I have a fitness business, and I give my expertise and my knowledge to people that I work with. I have a fitness business that's been up and operating for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've trained quite a few celebrities.
And you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do drugs?
No, I don't smoke, but I like my wine, like everybody else, which is fine.
Wine is good.
Yeah, but now I'm getting, ready to start filming season 3 of Gravesend. So you put everything on the back burner and you just concentrate and you stay focused on what you have to do.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I always try to get tips off of Pete. I call him up every now and then. Come on, Pete.
Yeah, and I'm very inspirational for you, and I give you the right advice. And like I've always told you, and I told you in the green room, you just got to do it. Just put everything.
Stop making excuses.
Yeah, there is no excuses.
Yeah, everything.
Right. Just be true to you. It's just that simple.
No, if it was that easy, everyone would do it, right?
And we all know what to do.
Yeah.
We all know what to do. You just have to apply yourself, stay focused, stay away from all the negativity, and just make it happen for yourself.
The negativity is the everything.
Yeah.
Now, tell me how you met Sid and Bernie, because you used to go on their show a lot
Yeah,
back in the
well,
day. Didn't you have a healthness show?
I had a Fitness Fridays on Bernie and Sid show, but then
yeah.
Bernie got sick. He had prostate cancer.
Yeah.
And then we did away with the segment. Okay. But I'm still very close to Sid. I can go back and do Fitness Fridays whenever I want. Mm-hmm. But now the show just came very political.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. A lot of that became very political.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too much right now.
Too much, I know.
And we'll see in the future, where the future holds. But, I have an open invitation to go to 77 WABC whenever I want.
It's a great station.
Yeah, and I met Sid, on the production of Gravesend, and we're best friends.
I know you guys are very close. I never got to meet Bernie, unfortunately.
Yeah, Bernie was a gentleman.
Yeah.
May rest in peace.
Yeah, God bless him, yeah.
It's a big loss.
Yeah.
Big loss, and he died at such a young age.
Yeah, cancer, man, is brutal.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of us,
Yeah.
Now with season 3, talk about some of these new co-stars that you got in. You got Tyler Schuyler, right? In there?
Right. Vincent Curatola.
Yeah, Johnny Sack, just talking.
Vincent Petzori is a regular cast member now for season 3.
That's great.
We have Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
And let's see who else. That Mr. DeMeo.
Well, Chris Tardio was going to be stepping into the plate and doing his biggest scene now that he's out of jail, right?
That's Cousin Charlie's been released from prison, and now that's where the show, season 3, is going to start.
Yeah.
And it's a very well written production, and it's a very well cast production, and just everybody's putting 150% into this season, because this is the season where
I feel like this thing is going to take it over.
Yeah, elevate to the next level.
Yeah, because especially with the storyline the way it is, him getting out of jail and that whole thing.
Right.
And Chris Tardio, I like him a lot. He's a great actor.
He's a tremendous talent.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's really, really going to be great. We're filming now, and we're going to, go all the way up into Thanksgiving or Christmas of this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about 6 months we'll be in production. Yeah.
Now, I know you've been filming, well, you did this thing with, as we just said, Jailhouse Jerky Crew, directed by our friend Paul Borghese.
Right. It's a comedy.
What's the story about?
No, it's a comedy. It's a real-life product with the beef jerky that they went into business with, and they're in all the supermarkets.
Okay.
You can go to any supermarket and purchase the product, you know, and it's a comedy. You know, I don't want to give too much away, you know, because they're editing right now.
I was going to say, when is it airing?
Yeah. We're looking for a home also, like Gravesend's looking for a place,
Gotcha.
you know, to air its production. And it's got a tremendous cast, like I said earlier, with Tony Darrow, who plays Tough Tony, he's the big boss. Chuck Zito was Chuck the Truck. I'm Petey Muscles, you know, and it's just, we had a lot of fun doing it.
Lou Veneria, right?
Lou Veneria, tremendous talent.
I love him.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great.
You know, it's beautiful, like all these guys, all of you always support the show. I support you guys, and it's great that we all became friends.
Right.
And it's like, everything comes to full circle.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Louis been on the show plenty of times, and he's always been a gentleman.
Right. And Louis sings when he's not, you know, acting and stuff like that.
He comes up here. He came here with the band. He came here with Joanne.
With Joanne. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Louis great. We're very close.
Louis Scoops. No attitude with Louis.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I was going to ask you with Sabrina Carpenter.
Right. Well, her music video is going to be released today, and it's expected to get 50 million views. She opened for Taylor Swift. She was just on Saturday Night Live.
Listen, you opened for Taylor Swift.
Yeah. You know, she's a tremendous talent.
That's great.
She's a tremendous talent. Yeah. So I had a great time working with her. It was last week. We were right here in Staten Island at the Arthur Kills Correctional Facility.
Oh, so that's where you were when I talked to you at the party that night?
Yeah, we shot 15 scenes in one day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, tremendous.
So now, what's the future plans for you besides Gravesend? You have any other irons on the fire that you're doing?
I'm going to go back into stand-up comedy.
Okay, cool.
You know, I was doing it for quite some time, you know. And, Gravesend, we're looking to do, you know, quite a few seasons.
You got to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Willie a lot. He's a good guy. He's a very humble guy. He knows how to handle himself.
Right. He's very professional. He gives everybody a break.
Yeah.
You know, he does. He helps everyone. You know, I know Willie a long time. You know, we started together in the Bronx.
That's what I was going to say that I forgot before. Peter's first debut with the movies, he was in a Bronx Tale back in 1993.
Right.
How old were you? And how did you get into that?
I was 32 back then. Well, there was an open...
Get out of here. You were 32?
I was 32
you
and Willie
like
was 23.
You were a kid back then.
Yeah, I was 32 back then. Willie was 23.
So how did the casting go on?
Well, there was an open call down on Mulberry Street where they took Polaroid photos of us, and they lined us all up, and then a couple of us got called to go to work in Astoria, and Robert De Niro wanted to see us, and he lined us all up, and he chose Willie, myself, and then Lenny Ligori.
Wow.
You know, and it was great. And that was our first film together, our first scene together, and we remain, friends ever since.
Yeah, and then years later, look at you now.
Yeah. Now Chaz works for us.
Yeah, that's great.
Right. We worked for him back then in '93. In 2024, he works for us.
Chaz Palminteri from the Bronx Tale, he plays Sonny. He has a podcast, and I watched you on Chaz's show.
Right.
I watched Willie and Vinny. I watched everybody on there because I like it. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But Peter, where can people find you if they need to catch you on Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram. Peter Gaudio. Facebook.
What if they want to get trained and get healthy?
Well, I do virtual training. I do in-person training.
Okay.
It's at an ultimate level, but we start at a beginner level and bring you up to intermediate, then advanced.
You set up
diets
and
I write the
all
whole
that
nutrition
other stuff?
program for you. I oversee it. And I've been doing it since I'm 15 years old. I continue doing it, and I like to help people. Change their lives, change the way they think.
No, you definitely are. You're a good
very
guy.
Inspirational, very motivational.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to stay marketable in this industry today, you have to take care of yourself.
You have to take care of
yourself. Because it's all about putting asses in seats. If you can't fill those seats with asses, then no one wants to book you, no one wants to hire you. That's what it's all about today.
It's even construction. If you don't get yourself in shape, you don't work.
Well, it's true.
Right?
Yeah. But when you're in front of the camera, you need to be fit, you need to be trimmed,
100%.
because especially with high definition television, you see it all.
You see it all now. I know.
Yeah.
Man, forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but...
And it's all discipline, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's all discipline. If you don't have that gene, you're not going to make it. All the work is in the kitchen. It's not in the gym.
Yeah.
80% is in the kitchen. 20% is in the gym.
It's everything that you put in your body.
100%.
And the time you're putting it into
100%. There's no ways of getting around it.
Yeah.
You could do all the exercise you want. If you don't watch what you eat, your body's not going to change.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Well, food for thought. Next time you see me, you're going to see me with about another 5 to 10 pounds, I promise.
Okay.
Or you can put me in a headlock.
Or the trunk.
Yeah, either way I got to go. Everybody, Pete Gaudio.
Thank you.
All right. It's about that time to say goodnight to everybody. We got to close the show, but we'd like to thank our food donators, Paulie from Nucci's Restaurant. We'd like to thank Dennis and crew at La Dolce's Bakery in Princess Bay, Rossville, for all that great Italian pastries you guys had, right? And that's it. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Johnny P TV. For studio audience, I'm Johnny Potenza. Everybody get home safe. God bless and good night.